We didn't know until after we cast you, Halle, and this is crazy. What a great swimmer you are. Thank the Lord, because you're saving Jonah, which you really almost were.
So that was lucky. Yeah, as well. It worked.
Hi, I'm Halle Bailey, and I am here with the cast of The Little Mermaid and the wonderful filmmakers, and we are here doing Entertainment Weeklies around the table. So the first time I was able to watch our version of this film, I was stunned because, well, Rob here was like, I want you to watch it alone first. So I was like, okay. So I just remember being in the theater by myself, and like the first 20 minutes of the film, I was like jaw open, just sobbing for like 20 minutes straight. I consider myself like a singer, musician first, and I've never seen myself on a big screen like this. So this was very different for me, and I was like stunned and excited and happy and feeling all of these emotions, but also feeling all of the emotions that we felt when we were filming, and I was just remembering everything and just this overwhelming sense of gratitude. So the first time I saw the film, I was just blown away by what Rob has done, and John, and this beautiful cast here, and everybody is just so phenomenal, and I'm just so grateful to be a part of something like this.
We talked to everybody afterwards, which was really wonderful, just to get a sense of what the people were feeling when Javier saw it too. I mean,
I think overwhelming is the word. And in the best way. I thought the world needs this kind of joy, and you escape into this beautiful thing, but it's relevant because it's like two people trying to carve out like the life that they choose and they want. And I just sat there with my whole family watching it, and I was like, this is what I want to watch. But it's like, I told Halle this earlier, I was so proud to have my two girls watch this movie and what it meant to them to claim your own life and to do it so beautifully and so much joy that it was quite overwhelming in a great way.
I mean, you saw it with Penelope.
Yes, and she was crying at the very end, and I was crying at the very end. But I was trying to hide my tears because it doesn't look cruel when I cried over my own performance. Like, I'm so good at the end.
This guy's amazing.
No, she was great. No, yeah, but what about me?
She left the funniest voice note for us. She said, I cried more in this movie than Sophie's Choice.
That's a lot to say.
I was like, wow. I know, it's fantastic. And Jonah, when you saw it, you saw your whole family was with
I saw
you.
it my whole I was meant to see it on my own, and they said, oh, you're going to a screen? We're coming. So suddenly I was like, I had like a guest list of 10, my mum, my uncle, my aunt, my sisters, everyone was there. And it was a beautiful way to watch it though, because seeing their reaction to it and their love for it, and it was so infectious, and I felt very, very overwhelmed. I mean, I think the big feeling was one of pride, I think, of you and of what you guys have done, and also all of your work, because a lot of it I hadn't seen yet. It was just very exciting, and it's obviously a horrendous thing to watch yourself on screen, and yet it was, I was lost in the whole film. It's a beautiful story, and I was completely lost in it.
And Jacob, you just saw it
I saw it last night. Yeah. I did have my family with me too, except my older sister. She just got a new job, but it's. But it was really something else. Like, as soon as Under the Sea started, you kind of hear that tune, and it was just like immediately. It was like it was so awesome, and Ursula too. Oh my goodness, like that moment where you go into her little cave for the first time. It's just so eerie, and I just think they did such a great job. And yeah, like hearing especially because hearing a 12-year-old Jacob voice is, pretty interesting. But
I mean, this movie took 4.5 years, so I mean, we were just saying when Halle auditioned for this film, she was 18. And she's 23, so it's this crazy thing. I mean, the whole process for us took 4.5 years. So John and I, throughout the whole process, saw it get built, and we even had to screen it with in front of people when it was like not ready to be seen, just to feel story. Seeing it is such a I mean, I can't even imagine what that was like. You know, we were there in the trenches every day seeing it, you know, literally, sometimes we'd have background, but you'd still be wearing a wig cap.
Yes.
But every strand of hair is added, you know, every fish, all the vegetation, everything, all of that is added. And then, of course, your characters are all added with, you know, nuance of what you were playing when you were recording. And that's what's so beautiful, you know. And so there was so much left. That's why it took so long to make. And that's why we wrapped, you know what, 2 years ago, basically. But what I'm so proud of about this cast, I have to say, from me personally, is that you brought everything to it. You brought all of your passion. You completely believe this world. I love when people
humor too, and the humor.
and the humor, it all comes from a place. There's nothing artificial about it. There's nothing where we comment or anything about the piece. We believe it, and that's why I believe that the audience is invested so deeply watching it. This is an amazing group of people, the nicest, most gorgeous company ever. But it's the talent and the depth of your connection of what you brought. Every one of you. Stunning.
Except one. We'll find that out later.
No, but thankfully everybody was so easy to work with because it was really, truly the most technically difficult thing we've ever
No question.
faced. So this,
Yes.
the feel that I'm sure you're feeling now, this camaraderie and openness of spirit was necessary for
Yes,
our process.
100%. I mean,
We
but
hired,
you were all fearless too. I mean, that's the thing. And John and I kept saying from the very beginning, we cannot let the technical end of this lead it. It can't be about the, you know, the teeter-totters and the tuning forks and the, you know, and the
stunt
wires. It
people
can't be. It has to be about story. It has to be about character. It has to be about feeling, and that's what all of you brought.
You broke the rules. You went to the above world.
A man was drowning. I had to save him.
This obsession with humans has to stop.
I just want to know more about them.
You know, when you look at the animated film, everyone will agree that the character of Eric is a two-dimensional character. It's just there's nothing there, and we thought this just cannot be the way it is. This is a live-action film. We need to understand what he wants, what his journey is, and so it was incredible to find an actor of Jonah's stature because we knew he could bring all the colors, and we saw this as a sort of a story of almost Romeo and Juliet.
Spirits,
Yeah, Romeo and Juliet. You know, these from two warring worlds in a way that find each other, and they both are dealing with the same issues with parents that don't understand them. They don't feel that they fit in, and they find each other as kindred spirits. Exactly.
and that's why we wrote it, that Ariel just doesn't see him and go, oh my God, this gorgeous guy, I fell in love with him. We wanted to make her not only want to be part of this world, but she hears him. She's in the boat and she hears his plight and his plea, what he's dealing with, totally paralleling
was
her. So
connected
we
to
wanted
him.
that to be more important than this.
And they share the sense of adventure, and they share not being afraid of other people and reaching out past their own cultures and things. Then what we went to Alan Menken and Lin-Manuel and said, we need a song for Eric. Eric never had a song, and so they wrote this beautiful song, Wild Uncharted Waters, which, you know, it's a stunning song. It's a beautiful, epic piece. And we understand your drive. So we have like a fully realized story. I mean, that's what you realize that when you're creating a live action piece. You know, this is your chance to reimagine. Good songs in a piece, you can't just pull them out. They're part of the fabric, and that replaces a scene. And also we were looking for, with the other new song, for the first time, you know, you realize in the animated film, Ariel had one song.
Wow.
Right.
One song.
Right. Yeah.
How weird is that?
Yeah.
So this is the lead of the piece. Like, where's her other? So we found this other song, which was challenging because you had lost your voice at that point. But we found a way to do it internally, so that we could hear your thoughts through song, and it takes us through this really, you know, montage of your entire experience on land for the first time. You know, the beauty of it, the fear of it, the, you know, excitement of it, and then it, you know, and it wraps all that into that song, and it's such a spectacular piece. So it was so great to really be able to reimagine this.
As you say, you know, in the original, he is this charming guy and this attractive guy, and that's fun, but also we wanted to bring some nuance to him and to his life. We wanted to understand where he came from and where he wanted to go and what he wanted from life. And I think in understanding him as someone who was this restless spirit, always looking outwards rather than in, we understood so much more about them and their relationship. And kindred spirits is definitely the term we used again and again, because their relationship felt earned and justified, and it felt like we wanted them to be together because it felt like they were meant to be together. And I think what was really nice, and maybe this was something that came from you and I, but the friendship that was on the screen, I think obvious. The Ariel and Eric relationship is one of friendship. And of course it has all the romance of a Disney relationship that you would want, but that feeling of friendship and humor and shared interests was, I think, the foundation of our story, and came very easily because we had that off screen too.
Did you feel that, Halle?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I tell the story all the time. When I first got to see Jonah's audition, I mean, I was there. I was there. Rob and John were like, okay, you wait behind here, you watch, and then we're gonna bring you in, and then you do the read. And so I just remember being,
you were there?
Yeah.
They screen tested together.
To read together.
Yeah.
But then your whole family was there as well.
Yeah.
Oh my God! And there was a vote. It was like a vote. It was like
everyone was like, he is so amazing.
you just had something special immediately, and you can't create that. It just sort of happens or it doesn't. Right. And you had it like it was just once again we had no choice. It was chosen for us.
Something about you seems different. I can't quite figure it out.
She got legs, you idiot.
I remember walking in on the first day and like in my head is like, how is any of this gonna work? You know what I'm saying? And then like we showed up and y'all had created the sort of like walkthrough of what you were trying to do. You know, it almost felt like being on a ride at Disneyland or whatever. Like, we sort of like walked through the thing, and by the time we got to the end of it, I was so invested. I was like, oh, it's magic. I was just excited, and then everybody was so nice. It was just like, it was
that time we spent there, like the three of us, when we were like, first of all, it was the only time I've recorded an animated movie like that, like with like reading a scene together. It's always, just like someone in the corner that's like, hello, Susie. But it was so cool to discover that, and we did have that crazy walkthrough where I couldn't imagine like what you guys were trying to do and how ambitious it was technically, but I always knew like no matter, and I haven't seen it yet, mind you, but I was like, there's something that is gonna be like very baller about like the way this movie's gonna be done.
And it can't be easy to like act with puppets, but when I watched it, it was so convincing. When we were doing the lines, I didn't know that we were actually recording it, so I thought it was a rehearsal. But because everyone was all there, Halle was there, Rob was there, I felt, I'll just do it like 100%, just like how I would do it in recording, just because. And thank goodness I did that. I genuinely thought that because that's the thing about being so young and most of the time not really understanding what's happening because you're 12. But I think it worked out.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought we were gonna maybe be hidden somewhere, like suspended in like a hole.
What I thought.
As like you're doing the scene and I'm like, yep, and then like from like up there, I don't know, I didn't know what
I thought it was gonna be in a booth, but
that's
Oh my God. Oh, hilarious.
Also, I want to do a movie with you where you're just always like hiding somewhere and I have to find you.
doing off-camera dialogue for 3 months. No.
But I have to say the physical demands too of the film. All of you are so physical and so strong. That's what was amazing. I mean, we didn't know until after we cast you, Halle, and this is crazy. What a great swimmer you are. Thank the Lord, because you're saving Jonah, which you really almost were.
So that was lucky. Yeah, it worked.
But I mean, Melissa, you're such a dancer. It's incredible what you do physically.
I remember
in this
a couple
piece.
times I would say, and then we'll go past this, or someone else will do this. I'm going to do it. Yeah. I'm doing that.
No, you
and
all
she
did.
literally
You all
said,
did.
whatever I'm doing, she threw herself on that shell and would come up. It was amazing.
When given a 60-foot clamshell, you take advantage. No one else is ever going to give me a clamshell that size, so I was like, I shall slide down. It was like
you didn't want to take
dream.
the easy way out, though. We could have cut, and you could have just popped up. But you said, no, I want to go from point A to point B.
Exactly.
I want to do that.
I think about Jonah, too. I think about you going through that shipwreck, having a dump tank dumped on you.
A dump tank.
Over and over.
Literally,
want to know.
because
But it wasn't only that; it kept on to the end.
rain
During the
and
final battle.
I mean, when you see it,
shivering, and
the
it
film,
was horrible.
all the fire on the ship, that's all real.
Yeah.
And we were in the back lot at Pinewood for that, not on water. For any of that, it was freezing cold. You know, Halle, you were freezing. You had water bottles everywhere you could put them.
Yes.
She had them like wrapped around her, and then because you know we take it off and it was freezing, you were like in nothing, like a little tank top. You know, that was
And I
crazy.
hate being cold.
Oh my God! She always had this hot water bottle.
Yeah.
She runs
Oh my
cold.
gosh.
She runs
The
cold.
seaweed day.
What's the
was-
seaweed day?
Oh my gosh, the seaweed day was when I had to get caught up in the net,
Oh, wow.
and they had real seaweed
Yeah,
on
that
me,
was real.
and I remember.
Lovely smelling.
Yeah, lovely smell, and I remember Rob was like, "Oh, well, you know, people pay thousands to go to the spa." And do that." It was like for seaweed
Just spinning,
treatment.
just
I'm like,
spinning it.
That's a good way to think of it. I will say, my skin felt so nice.
I felt
Have to have a skin
terrible.
like- Let me ask Halle.
No,
let me
Halle,
ask
there were times we asked you, Halle, to do way too much. I mean, we asked you in that one scene to go underwater and then just don't breathe and open your eyes underwater and then pop up. And I thought that was something you could do.
Yeah.
And then I remember I was in a pool once afterwards and tried. I thought, oh
both
my
did
God,
it.
I almost choked and killed
both
myself.
did
I
it.
was like, how did Halle do that?
No, and then
Yeah.
opening your eyes when
Yeah.
you see, and then it just
It's
seems
impossible.
effortless.
Yeah, it was funny.
But you never said no.
Yeah.
But the next day you did tell me.
Yeah,
It was
I
tough.
was like, it was
You said,
burning.
That was
actually.
burning like
Yeah, it's like burnt.
really hard.
Yeah, but when you see it, when you see that, it's incredible. I mean, you were fearless, Hal. I could see the gorgeous thing about you in this film is the passion, the deep strength you have in this film. In addition to everything else, the vulnerability and also the, I don't know, the otherworldliness that you have too. You know, it's the whole range, and it's incredible. It's an astonishing performance, I have to say.
Thank you.
What did you feel like? I know how we felt when you came into audition.
Yeah.
What did you feel after that audition?
Oh my gosh.
You
Well,
made Rob cry.
I was relieved because you all were just so warm and so kind to me. But I remember going into it like so nervous, like, oh my gosh, I just hope I do a good job. And I thought I did a bad job at first because I remember you guys asked me like, what do you want to do first? You could sing, you could act first. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna sing first. And I remember I just sang it and I was like closing my eyes and belting, and then I like opened my eyes and I saw that you guys were like crying. And I immediately, I was like, no, like I messed up, like this is bad. And then you guys said that they were happy tears, and I was like, okay, thank God. But my first reaction was like, oh my gosh, this was terrible. I've made them cry. It's so bad. It's so bad.
It was very
But-
easy too, because
Yeah.
you can't imagine that someone's going to come in and do that. And this has happened with every single one of you. I mean, I always pray as a director, you never have to ever make a choice. That the choice is made for you. You all claimed the roles. It was so clear that these were meant for you in the world. Period. The end. And it was so obvious.
Our first day, we were just rehearsing, and Rob was like, "Oh, can you just, start in on your melody, just so she can hear it in the room?" And you sang like 3 seconds of it, and then I was like, I'm so sorry, I'm not crazy. And I totally got overwhelmed, and I was like, I've got to get it together. This is day one, and I was so like, I kind of couldn't process you. Like I learned to put my nails into the palms just so you weren't truly like, she needs to be kept at a distance. But it was like, every time it just goes right through my heart.
I want to be where the people are. I want to see them dancing.
You can't live in that world unless you become a human yourself.
I don't know.
Life's full of tough choices, isn't it?
When you opened your mouth to sing this song, it was that holy God moment. Because, as an actor, you do everything, which in your range is off the charts. But when you started to sing and you see, a lot of actors who come to sing, it's difficult because they're thinking, I have to sing, the proper notes. And that's all they think about is technical. You brought color and feeling and emotion and everything immediately to these lyrics as an actor, and I thought, that's the best singing in the world. That's the best singing in the world.
I remember I think the first month I was by myself, I was just listening to y'all's beautiful voices in my ears, talking to the air and the puppeteers. And I was so grateful when Jonah came along, and then I was with Melissa. I was like, oh my gosh, she's so cool. Like, I'm such a fan of her. And I just remember, like, you walked in, you were so kind, but you knew your power and you knew your worth. And I just remember watching it and being like, wow, like, that is the true example of a woman who knows herself and knows her power and knows her talents. And I just remember watching and being like, wow, I wanted to be like a sponge and like soak up those things, because, you know, I'd never been on a set like this or learned anything like this. So I truly felt like I learned so much from Melissa.
Your performance is astonishing. I mean, it's like nothing we've ever seen from you before, I believe.
I mean, it was such a fun thing to develop and to really go into, because you let me make her so damaged and funny and not always mentally healthy. And I thought, coming out of also in such isolation, which I have to say, the weird, you know, stop work that we did because of COVID, being isolated, was a weird thing to come back to that, having been like, we've all been in that situation now. So it's like, it was an interesting pairing.
Well, you know, I was thinking about when we were making this film, you know, it was an interesting time in the world, and we were feeling the world becoming increasingly divisive, right? Being afraid of who's on the other side of the wall and on the side of the border. We felt that. Why are people so fearful? And to make this story about these two beautiful characters that break those barriers and break down those walls was such an antidote to the time we were living in, and still incredibly modern and current for us now. Because it really is about reaching past and not being afraid of the other, someone that's different than you.
Listening,
yeah,
heard.
and also a kind of a reminder that we're all one. And that's what the message of the film is. It's really, you know, it's so powerful.
Yep.
Come on, you unfortunate soul! Go ahead! Make your choice!
Come on, gal. It's either sink or swim.
When I saw the movie, I have to say that beyond your talent as a performer and as a singer, which are obvious, what I felt is something that I haven't felt in a long time, which is when you see someone that has it, that has the magic in her presence, that you cannot take your eyes off her. Like, no matter what you do, I'm following you, because it's impossible not to fall in love with you, with what you represent as a human. I was amazed by the light and the depth that you have within yourself, and how easy it unfolds in front of your eyes. It's amazing.
You can tell that from even the trailer promo, am I right? I got chills too. You know?
But you know, what's so interesting about you know, working with this entire cast, like, we've been trying to work together for a long time. And talk about emotional depth and connection. There's many stories in this film, but one of the sort of main stories is a simple story about a father and a daughter, and a father learning to let go. You know, when you think about who is going to be able to play that full range and have that, because without that, there's no movie. And I thought, you know, who has, and John and I thought, has the depth? And then of course, we talked about it, and we said, Javier should be Triton, blah, blah, blah. And we were literally we were in the grocery store, we were in Ralph's. We were going, hand to God. John and I are talking about Javier in aisle 2. Then by aisle 7, my phone rings. Ring. It's Javier.
What?
This is the hand of God truth.
Absolutely.
I said, Javier, we were talking about you in aisle 2. And he's like, so sweet. Would you ever consider me to play Triton? I threw the thing in, you know, frozen foods. You know, I couldn't. And it was like, this is like Kismet.
It's true.
That's exactly what he said.
Exactly.
Is that weirdest thing? How
And
crazy?
then I was with Penelope and my kids, and my daughter, which she was, at the time, was 7
Luna
years
was
old.
tiny.
I threw that message, and then you answered me right back. Are you crazy? We were thinking about it. And then I said, wow, it may happen. And then, really, Dad? And what are you going to play? Are you going to play Ariel?
That's a good one.
Not really.
Oh,
Just
okay.
the father. But still, she was like, oh.
I'd like to see that version.
That version, it's coming, it's coming.
Just also
So that has been our time around the table with Entertainment Weekly, and we are the cast of Little Mermaid. You can go check out the movie in theaters May 26th.